This week, if you draw every day, you will be able to understand basic drawing techniques, understand the perception of light and shadow, begin to understand the perception of space, and use a variety of value-building skills to create volume. Here are some of the projects you will be working on this week. This week, you will be introduced to the element of value. You will learn about cast shadows, highlights, and midtones. We will also introduce positive and negative space. Remember to pause the video and complete each activity as it happens so that you are participating in real time. Set your timer for 1 hour and draw a self-portrait in your hand in the same position as the first time. Pick one of the 10 still life images that are available to you for this exercise. You can either print it out or you can keep it up on your computer screen. Place your graphite on paper and begin to draw a line that shows the edges of the largest object in the photograph, or the closest one to the viewer. This line should be free-flowing and should show the connection of all the objects as well as the space between them. Do not lift the pencil until the drawing is complete. If you accidentally lift your pencil, start over with a new drawing. Cover the entire surface of the paper, even if you go off the edge. Change the weight of the line depending on the lighting and placement. Shadows can be shown with heavy or dark lines. Background placement can be shown with lighter line work. Like the blind contour of last week, extended contour builds eye-hand coordination. Do this as many times as necessary for you to complete the piece without picking up the pencil and running off the edge of the paper. Last week you learned about gestures and contour lines. This week we will talk about how to make your work look three-dimensional. You must understand value and how to use it to be successful with the illusion of depth. Some of the words that you will hear when an artist speaks of value are highlights, cast shadows, object shadows, proximity shadows, and midtone. The highlighted area is closest to the light source. The object shadow is the darkest part of the subject matter. The cast shadow can help show time of day or that the subject matter is grounded. The proximity shadow is the darkest part of the cast shadow and is closest to the object. Value refers to the lightness or darkness of a surface. The value of an object is largely determined by the lightness or darkness of its surroundings. When a full range of value is used, an object appears three-dimensional or volumetric. All three-dimensional objects will have highlights, shadows, and midtones. When artists discuss value, you may also hear them discuss contrast. Contrast is the amount of difference between values within a particular piece or scene. A high contrast piece, such as the one on the left, will have a full range of value, from black to white. A low contrast piece, like the one on the right, will stay in the more gray range of values. How do you create value on a surface? Most people immediately think of pencil shading when value comes up in discussion. This is taking the side of the pencil to shade, as shown here. But there are several techniques that can be used to create value simply through the use of line work. These are hatching, cross-hatching, gesture, and stippling. By placing your lines close together in an arrangement, you will begin to create dark values. The more space between your marks, the more you will increase your light range in values. Let's look at some examples. Hatching uses a series of parallel lines to create value. Hatching lines can be either straight or curved to increase the illusion of form. Cross-hatching is similar to hatching, but uses perpendicular lines in addition to the parallel lines, creating a grid or screen-like effect. These lines can be curved to follow the surface of an object. These are known as cross-contour lines. Gestural lines, or scribbles, will vary in style from person to person, but are generally squiggly, spaghetti-like lines. These are applied very loosely. Stippling is a technique that uses a series of dots to create value. Just as with the placement of line, the more concentrated the dots are, the darker the values will be. The further they are apart, the lighter the value. You will practice some methods of value building by first creating several value scales. Don't look at this as something boring to do. Instead, look at this as a challenge. Everything you do in your sketchbook brings you one step closer to your goal. If you make a mistake, start over. Do not erase. In your sketchbook, on one page, do the following: a shading value scale, a hatching value scale, and a stippling value scale. Start by gesturing 10 circles on a page in your sketchbook. They do not have to be perfect, but try to keep them roughly the same size. Do not trace the circles, just do them freehand. Use your graphite and fill in the 10 circles with value. Try to add volume with the different value building techniques. Work with this exercise until you are comfortable with what you have accomplished. Keep trying until you prove to us that you can do it, and do it well. As a challenge, try the same techniques in Photoshop using the pencil or brush tool. Set up a series of simple objects or wooden shapes such as these in front of you on a desk or table. Set your timer for 1 minute and do 10 gestures of the miniature still life. It is important to give your brain, eyes, and hands time to warm up. Start a new drawing, but use your opposite hand. Do 5 more gesture drawings using your opposite hand. Use 2 pencils and both hands to draw at the same time. Sound crazy? Try it. It is fun and helps with speed. Complete 3 rendered drawings using any of the value building techniques that you have practiced. Use the paper sculpture from last week and try to complete a drawing of it using value to create depth. Two terms traditionally used in art are negative space and positive form. Let's look at a couple examples to visually show you the difference between the two. When an artist is looking at any subject matter, it can be broken into negative space and positive form. Most beginning artists assume that the positive form is the more important of the two. But negative spaces are just as important, especially for those that are beginners. Many times, a beginner will allow the left part of the brain to take over, but an artist needs to rely solely on what they see to draw successfully. Your brain may be telling you that what you are seeing is incorrect because it is constantly trying to make visual information make sense. Because you have no pre-existing memorized symbols for negative space shapes, you can rely on exactly what your eyes see. In general, the positive form or space refers to the actual person, place, or thing, and the negative space refers to the area around the person, place, or thing. What happens when these two roles reverse? M.C. Escher is most famous for his so-called impossible structures, such as ascending and descending, relativity, his transformation prints such as Metamorphosis 1, 2, and 3, sky and water, or reptiles. M.C. Escher became fascinated by the regular division of the plane when he first visited the Alhambra, a 14th century Moorish castle in Granada, Spain, in 1922. He liked to create visual puzzles using perspective and the interplay between positive and negative space. During his lifetime, he made 448 lithographs, woodcuts, and engravings, and over 2,000 drawings and sketches. Negative space is not just empty air, but instead a series of interesting shapes. The next exercise will help you to better grasp this concept. Put a chair in front of you. It can be any type of chair. You will be drawing only the negative space shapes. When you draw the edges of the negative space, you will have actually drawn the chair. Use the transparency and a grid to help you with this if needed. Once you understand the positive form and negative space and how they are used together, you will start to pay attention to and understand composition. Create a still life composed of geometric and organic forms. Lighting is important in this project because we will rely on the way light interacts with three-dimensional objects to define space. Arrange a group of objects, some in front of others. Notice the way light and dark areas help us to see the objects as three-dimensional forms. Take your time with this drawing as it demands slow and patient work and depends on the opposition of dark and light values. You can use any type of value-building technique to complete this piece. Here are some examples of finished portfolio pieces. Use Magritte's drawing, The Thought Which Sees, as inspiration for this challenge. Draw some elements of a landscape or cityscape as if they were seen at night, while the rest of the subject matter seems to exist in broad daylight. You have now completed week 2. You are now armed with the knowledge of form, value, and space. You are that much closer to your goal of bettering yourself artistically.